Hey all, welcome to the SimHanger. My name's Mark, and welcome to the third and final in my series of videos where we've been taking a detailed look at Pimax's top-of-the-line VR headset, the Pimax 8KX. In the first video, we had a look at the specifications, we had a look at their excellent config utility, VR experience, and we took it for our first spin in Microsoft Flight Simulator in Greenland. In my second video, we followed this up by having a more detailed look at the config utility, and I shared with you the settings that I use to achieve an acceptable and good performance in Microsoft Flight Simulator, whilst at the same time maintaining one of the main features of this headset being the wide FOV. Now, my tests have certainly not been completely exhaustive, and there's a number of things still to try. According to Pimax, they recommend that you turn off CPU hyperthreading. This will improve performance. I haven't tried that yet. Bear in mind, I've only used the headset for about a week or so. And in addition, there's the opportunity for the CPU core utilization and balancing using Process Lasso, which is a free utility. I'll leave links in the notes below. The reason I chose Microsoft Flight Simulator is simply, in my opinion, it is the most demanding VR simulation application available in the market at the moment. So if I can get a good, acceptable performance using this headset in Microsoft Flight Simulator, well, I can get it in just about any simulator. What I wanted to do today in this relatively short video is simply share my personal views and opinions regarding the Pimax 8KX. The first thing I'd like to say is, in my opinion, it is an enthusiast level VR headset because of its price point predominantly. If we put that into perspective, if you look at the 4K per eye resolution that this offers, as well as the widest FOV on the market at the moment in relation to headsets that offer a similar specification, well, it's not that expensive. If you're looking at VR headsets such as the HP Reverb, etc., that don't offer all the same features, well, it can appear relatively expensive. So if you're somebody who pops in and out occasionally into VR, then this is probably not the headset for you. But if immersion and reality is really important to you in your simulation, well then I think the Pimax 8KX is certainly worth considering. In case you're wondering, I'm flying around Sydney at the moment. Let's talk price then. Prices do vary from region to region, and they're very volatile at the moment, so it's a difficult subject to cover. But what I do know is that Pimax are offering the 8KX directly for $1,190 US, which is about £1,000. But that doesn't include the base stations and doesn't include the controllers. If you get 2 base stations and 2 controllers, you're probably talking something in the region of £1,300, maybe £1,400, and up to $1,800 US, perhaps a little bit more. In addition, when considering this headset, you need to bear in mind there's a relatively high PC specification required. According to Pimax, they recommend a 2080 graphics card and an i5-9400 CPU. Personally, I would say a 2080 Super would be a good entry point, or 2080 Ti or 3070. In terms of CPU, I'm using a 10900K, and I found that I got a good performance with that. Now let's turn to really the heart of the matter, which is the big pros and cons for this VR headset. On the plus side, Pimax does deliver on its promise of high resolution and the best FOV or field of view available in a VR headset. Now, I wasn't able to get the 200-degree FOV, but I was able to get an acceptable performance at 170 degrees. And it is amazing, and it is a bit of a game changer once you realize just what you've been missing when you've been looking through somewhat of a tunnel vision. After using the Pimax for the last week, I went back to my HP Reverb and I was quite shocked at how narrow a view I had, and I was very conscious of the limited view. But interestingly, I was only conscious of that limited view for a short period of time before once again my brain clicked in and it seemed normal to me. Nonetheless, the FOV size of this headset does definitely add to the realism and level of immersion within the sim. And of course, the higher resolution, well, it's great. And you need that higher resolution for the wider the FOV goes, so you're spreading those pixels a little bit further than what you would normally. The dual engine mode is also very handy, particularly for those whose PC specifications are just up to the spec or perhaps just below. You can choose to upscale your graphics from 1440p to 4K. However, my experience was that the graphics fidelity hit was fairly substantial when I did that, and subsequently so was performance. Let's turn now to some of the negatives. And the first one is you need to be prepared to invest a bit of time and effort in terms of getting the settings just right so that you can get the performance that meets your expectations. This is not a headset. In Microsoft Flight Simulator, you're just going to receive, pop on your head and take off and have a great experience. A lot of trial and error is required to get it just right. And I hope that my earlier videos have been some help in that regard. And the second, and perhaps the biggest drawback for me, is this is a big piece of kit. It's not a small headset by any measure. It's not as heavy as perhaps it looks, but it is still front heavy. I know there is a counterbalance offered, a counterweight which can fit to the back of the headset, which helps the overall balance overall, but it is heavy. Now, I've got a relatively small head. Stop it, I know what you're thinking. Physically, it's fairly small, and I did find I had to spend quite a lot of time to get the headset to fit just right. And each time I put it on, I needed to adjust it that little bit more. One thing I forgot to mention earlier and is important is if you wear glasses, and with the use of the thicker foam face pad, it's very comfortable indeed. It's the best I've tried. If you're wondering if I'm going to compare this to, let's say, the HP Reverb VR headset, well, no, I'm not. And the reason I'm not is that if you take an example such as a Ford Focus and a Bentley Continental, they're both vehicles, they'll both get you from A to B, but they've both been designed for different purposes. HP Reverb is a general VR and a very good VR headset. The Pimax 8KX, well, it's a specialist headset with some unique features, and it's up to personal decision whether you should buy it or not. Well, thank you for joining me today, and I hope that this has been of some use to you if you are considering getting the Pimax 8KX VR headset. It's been a fantastic experience. Thank you very much for joining me. Take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you all again very soon. Very excited about the 27th with the Xbox release and the PC upgrade coming. See you soon. Bye for now.